Okay, we are coming back from the weekend and we are continuing to work on assignment 1, which is due by 11:59 tonight. Remember that if you go to links off of the homepage, you'll get all of our external site resources. And right there near the top is our YouTube, which you can bookmark. It's just YouTube channel NLC Arts Lab. And the way to navigate this is through playlists. And you'll see where the afternoon section, you'll see we have a playlist for this assignment, everything we did last class. We got through 5 15-minute videos, and it will catch you up if you missed the class, if you want to review anything that we went over, it's all here for you. And now we're going to pick up with that. So what we ended up doing at the end of last class was rough cutting and placing. Now, if I'm doing everything the way I want you to learn to do it professionally, is we always save our work in 2 places. So I have an SD card. Let's say that after Wednesday's class, I backed it up onto the SD card, which I did, and I went home and I worked on it a little bit, which I didn't. I didn't work on it. I tried to do everything in class to show you that it can all be done. But if you did work on it, what you would do at the beginning of class is you would grab this and you would move that folder or the assignment that you're working on, in particular, assignment 1, the PSD, right? You would move that onto the desktop of your computer. So what I want you to do is to take your most recent, PSD that you've done and move it onto the desktop of your computer. So we're working on it from the desktop. What I don't want you to do is work on it from your drive. If you work on it from your drive, it's going to be much, much slower because it's using the drive as the hard drive space, right? Your little SD card, your little USB drive. So we always put our working file on the desktop to make sure we're working from the computer and we can see it update as we improve it, because we're still in the middle of working on this. I like to label my assignments that are PSDs, that are working formats, with green. So that's why you see it there. And then at the end of class, I'll move it back into my master folder, and then I'll back up that whole folder by moving it and merging it with the folder here. Okay, so to open it up, we just double click, and you're going to want to sign in to Adobe. You make sure it's your account. The way you do that is by going to Help, and you'll see it here. If that's your email, you're signed in. If it's not your email, you want to sign that out so you can sign in. All right, so the goal of this project, which we're turning into Canvas, so I'll show you where that is. It's in Unit 4. We're finishing up Unit 4 today and starting Unit 5. If you want the full description of everything, you go to Unit Modules, but you can shortcut by going to Assignments, since we've already started that. And where we post our Assignment 1 is right here. So I've already posted my planning sketch. There are 2 requirements for this, the planning sketch and then the composite. And I say finished composite, but finished in quotes because it's as finished as it can be by the deadline, right? It's very likely we'll be able to make improvements after that. This is as far as I got last class. Remember that this is large enough to print, right? Which means it's at 350 pixels per inch, or at least 300 pixels per inch, and larger than 8 by 10. So my composition might be somewhere in here. It might end up being something like that, which would be 24 by 16. Oh no, I'm sorry, 18 by 10 inches. Is that larger than 8 by 10? Yes, indeed. But I have more space than I need right now because remember we made a working space of 30 by 40 inches. Why I'm saying this is a mistake that was made by several people in the last class. As you're building on top of your sketch, right, which has certain parameters, Do not grow this to fill up whatever the gray is. We're keeping it within our sketch parameters. Because if you make this 30 by 40 inches, the file is going to be larger than 2 gigs. You're going to have to save it in a special format, and you are hurting the pixel quality because you're blowing up these pixels that are from Pixabay and really high quality, but you're making them even bigger than they want to be. And so that means the computer has to make up a lot of information. So this is how we kind of contain our size. At the end of last class, I cropped it down a little bit closer. So you can use Command semicolon to turn on and off your guides. So you're reminded of where you're actually stacking the stuff to get the landscape you want. And I might even change that up a little bit. We'll see. Okay, now I'm going to turn off my onion skin sketch. And now what I have are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a background sky, 6 layers. And as long as I have more than 5, I'm ready to start compositing them together. I've rough cut them out. But now what I want, let's see. Yeah. Now what I want to do is start adjusting their colors. And this is what's called direct adjustments. So at the end of last class, we had finished by rough cutting and placing them. I'll just remind you how we did that. I'm going to bring on, let's see, where is it? I'm going to do a little bit of internal compositing to show you. So I was thinking of using this element, right, in the foreground. And I'm still thinking of using it, but I think I need something else as well. So I might find something new. But let's say I was going to use this element. What I do is I take the smart object of it, and then I hit Command J to duplicate it on its own. And then I can move that up so it's on top of these other elements, right? You see? But let me see what else I can get. So if you're still trying to find some good resources, we do that by going to Pixabay, which is linked in the assignment, pixabay.com. It's also under our links page. And I'm going to search for what I want. So let's see, shipyard dock. And I'm going to digitally image mine by saying I only want photos and I only want authentic images, no AI generated. And I don't want figurative content, right? No matter how cool people are, I don't want people. And I'm looking for something in the foreground. That's pretty nice. So I want a lot of these kind of colorful, kind of antique looking ships. This could be a nice kind of foreground element too, coming from above. So many. Okay, so what do? I right click, open those in new tabs. Remember, these are still all in Pixabay. This is not the sponsored content that's on that first row. And then do I like that one? I don't know. That one seems more suitable, and then that one. Between these two, it's the same thing, but different views. I think this one's a little bit more dramatic. But what do I need for my composition? I think I can make this work. So download. I'm getting it 6,000 by 4,000 pixels. It's really big. And then I'm getting this. I'm getting this 3,000 by 5,000 pixels. And the quality is good because things aren't accepted to Pixabay unless they go through at least 5 votes from members to be approved. And when they do accept AI work, it has to be noted as AI work. Okay, so now, How do I bring those in? Well, first I'm going to organize them into my assignment. So I have my assignment 1 folder and my master folder, and I go to downloads and I open up downloads. And yes, you got to do kind of the organizational stuff. And then I drop them into my references and I'll see them there. So it's here. I'm going to mark it as orange so I can notice them. And here. And then I'm going to bring them in. This is going to be extreme foreground, because maybe I can use that. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit. Maybe flip it horizontally by right-clicking. And then I think it kind of breaks up that side nicely. And then the next. Bring this in. Shrink it down. It's going to take up, let's see, maybe flip it. Take up maybe this space. Okay, now the problem is I've just torn these images out, but they are smart objects. And I sized them and placed them roughly, but they still have their full resolution attached to them because they're smart objects. So now I'm going to do what's called rough cutting and placing. So this is what I was doing at the end of last class, in the last video. And to do that, I'm using my tablet, but you can use a mouse or a trackpad. I'm just going to roughly cut around what I want, just like tearing it out of or cutting it out of a magazine page. Not too precise. Make sure I've selected that layer, and then I hit Command J to duplicate it. Then I turn off the smart object underneath. So I keep the smart object, but it duplicates into a cutout that's already rasterized. I mark it green. Now for the boat. Even though the sky is really cool, I don't need a lot of it. I need the boat and the land. In fact, I don't even need the land, but we'll see what I can do with it, because I want water. And then I hit Command J to duplicate that, and I turn off the smart object. And just so I know which layers I'm depending on, I mark it green. Now here's the tricky thing. You want to know what layers are in front of what layers, right? So if I want to move this one in front of this one, I want to move it there, right? Then I want to move the hook in front of that. So I got lots going on. Okay, now, if I turn on my guides, I kind of see what I'm thinking of, and I'm thinking, I'm going to adjust this composition a little bit based on my references. I'm going to rise it up there to get more of that sky. And I'm going to close it in here because I don't want so much off to that side. And I'm going to close it in here a little bit. So now my shape is more closed in, but I might drop it down a tiny bit. We'll see. Okay. Hit Command S, save it. That will update it. File, save, or Command S. It's already saved with my name and a description. Where is it saving to? It's saving to my desktop, because that's where I opened it from, not from my SD card. All right, the next step. This is my favorite part of this whole project. Instead of doing fine cutouts, what I do is first direct adjustments. Affect the pixels directly on all my layers, starting with the background layer. So that's my first layer. And the only thing I'm really using from this is the sky, and I feel like I've done this before. But what I do is I go to Image. There it is. Image Adjustments, and we do 3 adjustments, and I'm going to write them up on the board. All right, so the first one is levels, and I've written them up on the board. So I go to Image Adjustments, Levels. I'm affecting this layer, And the safe one to use is this mid-tone slider.